progress.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mary Skeens, and I'd like to welcome you to the March 16th, 2026 meeting of the Greensboro Planning and Zoning meeting. If the other commissioners would introduce themselves, starting from my right, please.
Stu Nichols.
Keith Peterson.
Catherine Maggot.
Warshay Downing.
Paul G. Gilmer, Sr.
Ted Oliver.
Thank you. And we do have one commission member, Erica Glass, who is participating via Zoom. Please note that this meeting is being conducted in person and online. If anyone participating online needs help with Zoom, please email Luke Carter at lucas, L-U-C-A-S .carter@greensboro-nc.gov. Members of this commission are appointed by the City Council, and we serve without pay. The commission reviews all original zoning, annexation cases, and rezoning requests for the City of Greensboro, and each commission member normally visits each site prior to the meeting. The procedure used for all our public hearings is as follows. Planning staff will present the background information and make their recommendation. The applicant will present a short summary on how he or she communicated with the neighborhood and why the request is reasonable. Other persons in favor of the request may speak for a total of 10 minutes, and that time is shared with the applicant. Speakers opposed to the request will share 10 minutes of speaking time. Then those in favor of the request will share 5 minutes of what's called rebuttal time, and those in opposition to the request will then have 5 minutes of rebuttal time. At the end of the speaking time, we will close the public hearing. Any commission member may ask questions once a presenter has completed their presentation, and all commissioners are required to vote unless they have a conflict of interest. In order to run the meetings more efficiently, the commission may reorganize the meeting agenda. And what that means is cases in which there's no opposition being expressed to either to the planning department or no speakers have signed up at the back table to speak in opposition, and the commission doesn't think it necessitates an in-depth discussion, those items will be moved to the top of the agenda. Staff will provide a shortened presentation on the expedited cases, and the applicant, if they want to, will have 2 minutes to address the commission to provide any additional information that they want the commission to know. Expedited cases will then follow the procedures that I'd outlined previously. When speaking here tonight, please direct all questions and comments to the Planning and Zoning Commission, not to staff. The commission will ask staff to comment on questions if we feel it's necessary. When a case is called that you're interested in, please come to the podium, and we need your name and address for the record. If you're participating online, please find and use the raise hand function under the reaction button. You'll be called upon to speak in the order in which the hands were raised. All approved or denied cases receiving 6 or more votes will constitute final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the planning department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. All cases receiving a majority of favorable votes but less than 6 will be subject to a public hearing by the City Council. All cases involving an annexation are also subject to final approval by the City Council. Participants in the Zoom meetings will be able to view the meeting and speak when they're called upon. This meeting is being recorded and televised on Greensboro Television Network. Now we need to hear from our attorney, Mr. Ducharme, about additional items that we need to consider.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. Good evening, everyone. Much of the Commission's work this evening is going to relate to the consideration of rezoning applications. I'd just like to remind everyone in attendance that when the Commission considers these applications, its determinations are based on the land uses that are allowed under the zoning district put forth in the application, as well as any conditions that have been proposed by the applicant. Now, the decisions that the Commission makes, these take broad policy questions into account, and they are summarized, those considerations are summarized by the factors that are outlined in the reasonableness statements that you will hear the Commission members read when they make their motions at the conclusions of a case. Just for context, land use impacts on public infrastructure are relevant in rezoning matters, but it's important to know that the Commission is not here to determine all details of a development. That process involves staff input and goes beyond the scope of the Commission's work. If a rezoning would generate a certain amount of traffic flow, for example, the Commissioners will have been provided with a summary traffic impact study. Meanwhile, many site-specific development features, such as the means of stormwater management, those are evaluated through the Technical Review Committee rather than in this forum here this evening. Lastly, concerns that are not related to land use are not germane to the Commission's consideration of rezoning applications. For example, generalized concerns about crime rates and questions of who may own, live at, or use subject property are not for the Commission's consideration. If there are questions about matters that are not addressed here this evening, you may direct those to the Planning Department or to City Technical staff as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duchamp. Now let's look at what we've got for approval of minutes from last month's meeting, February 16th meeting.
Commissioner, give me a motion to approve the meeting from February 16, 2026 meeting.
Stu Nichols, I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Gilmer and a second by Mr. Nichols, right? To approve the minutes from the February 16th meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Do we have any withdrawals?
Chair Skeens, just make sure Ms. Glass is also voting. She raised her hand to acknowledge yes on the minutes.
Okay, I think she raised her hand, so that means yes?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we give her the opportunity every time we vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, any withdrawals or continuances?
No, we do not have any this evening.
Okay. I have now been given the magic list of items that have no opposition and will be moved to the first of the agenda. The items that do not have any opposition are 1204 Rankin Mill Road. That is an annexation and a rezoning and a right-of-way. 5108 Summit Avenue, 3917, 3923, 3925, 3927, 3929, and 3931 Yanceyville Street is expedited. Portions of 701 Union Street and 643 Westgate City Boulevard will be expedited. 3405 Liberty Road, this is a rezoning and an annexation, and a right-of-way. So all those cases will be moved to the top of the agenda, which process of elimination says that Willow Road and Sharp Road and Old Randleman Road will follow the expedited cases. So our first expedited case. Excuse me. Just to make sure, because that was a lot of cases, if there's no one here that wants to speak in opposition to any of those cases that we called out. Okay, we're good.
Just put it on the slide.
Here we go. This is item PLP 26-05 and Z 26-03. 3-001, thank you. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City CDR3 conditional district residential single family 3 for the property identified as 1204 Rankin Mill Road, generally described as east of Rankin Mill Road and north of Huffine Mill Road, which is 0.68 acres. And then item PLP 26-05 and Z-26-03-002, and this is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City R3 residential single family for the property identified as a portion of Rankin Mill Road right-of-way, and that's 0.29 acres. Ms. Harrison.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is a zoning map, and it shows that the subject properties contain approximately 0.97 acres in total. 0.68 acres is privately owned, and 0.29 acres is in road right-of-way. The subject properties are described as east of Rankin Mill Road and including a portion of Rankin Mill Road and north of Huffine Mill Road. The request Z-2603-001 is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family and City R3 residential single family 3 to City CD R3, which is a conditional district residential single family 3. The request for Z-2603-002 is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City R3 residential single family 3. North of the request is zone County RS 30. East of the request is zone County RS 30 and City R3. South of the request is zone City R3 and County RS 30. And west of the request is zone City HI, which is heavy industrial. This is the aerial map, and it shows that the subject property's privately owned portion is currently undeveloped, but site visit shows that the subject property contains a single-family dwelling and a portion of the Rankin Mill Road right-of-way. North and west of the request contain undeveloped land. East and south of the request contain single-family dwellings. This image shows the subject property, which is 1204 Rankin Mill Road, as seen from Rankin Mill Road. This is a condition that the applicant proposed. And in recommending approval, the staff states that the GSO 2040 comprehensive plans future built form map currently designates the property as exurban and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 20 comprehensive plans, filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal so that Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods offer residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDR3 zoning district, as conditioned, would limit the property to residential uses. The proposed uses are similar to existing uses in the surrounding areas. And I can answer any question that you may have.
Any questions of Ms. Harrison? Seeing none, thank you. Would the applicant like 2 minutes? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Then, without objection, we will close the public hearing and move to discussion by the commission and or motion.
I'll make a motion. Item Z 26-03-001. Oh, first we need the annexation. Sorry. Let's do that. So first we'd like to annex PLP 26-05 for both properties, for both the 3001 and 3002.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, second. Annexation.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the annexation, a motion by Ms. Maggot and a second by Mr. Peterson. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your right hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Glass?
Ms. Glass raised her hand and said aye. I think she may be muted, but I did see her hand raised.
Okay. So that is a 9-0 vote for approval.
So first we'll do Z 26-03-001. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 1204 Rankin Mill Road from County RS 30 Residential Single Family and City R3 Residential Single Family 3 to City CD R3 Conditional District Residential Single Family 3 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future build format and future land use map, the proposed City CDR3 zoning district as conditioned permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impact on the adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and the surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve by Ms. Maggot and a second by Ms. Turner. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Ms. Maggot did, or Ms. Glass did raise her hand. I'm working with her on, or I'm sending her a message. She hasn't received it yet on checking her audio settings, but I can attest that she raised her hand and said aye.
That becomes a 9-0 vote. Thank you. And then we need one more motion on this for the right-of-way.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-03-002. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property, a portion of Rankin Mill Road right-of-way from County RS 30 Residential Single Family to City R3 Residential Single Family 3 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan future built form map and land use map. The proposed City R3 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public's best interest.
Second, Ms. Maggot.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Ms. Maggot to approve the zoning on the right-of-way. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have a hand raised from Ms. Glass?
We do, yes.
Very good. That's a 9-0 vote for approval. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. Thank you. Next case. Item PLP 26-06 and Z 2603-003. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 Residential Single Family to City R3, which is residential single family 3, for the property identified as 5108 Summit Avenue, generally described as east of Summit Avenue and north of Candlenut Road, 0.55 acres. Ms. Harrison.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is a zoning map, and it shows that the subject property contains approximately 0.55 acres and is located east of Summit Avenue and north of Candlenut Road. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS30, residential single family, to City R3, residential single family 3. North and east of the request are Zone County CZ RS30 MH, which is Conditional Zoning District Residential Single Family District, Manufactured Housing Overlay District in the county. South of the request is Zone City R3 and County RS30. West of the request is Zone County RS30. This is the aerial map, and it shows that the subject property contains a single-family dwelling. North, east, south, and west of the request contain single-family dwellings. There's no condition associated with this request, and in recommending approval, the staff states that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the property as urban general and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plans, filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal so that Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods offer residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed R3 zoning district would permit uses that are present on adjacent tracts. The available uses are compatible with the area. And I can answer any question that you may have.
Any questions of Ms. Harrison? Seeing none, thank you. Is the applicant here, and would they like to speak for 2 minutes on this case? Seeing none, without objection, we will close the public hearing for discussion and/or motion.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, I make a motion pertaining to PLP 2606 for annexation of 5108 Summit Avenue.
Commissioner Gilman seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the annexation by Mr. Peterson and a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Ms. Glass raised her hand. I can attest
Very
to that.
good. That's a 9-0 vote. Now let's move to the motion for the zoning.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-03-003. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action is to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 5108 Summit Avenue from County RS30 Residential Single Family to City R3 Residential Single Family 3 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plans, future built form map, and future land use map. The proposed city R3 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area, and it will benefit the property owner and the surrounding community, and approval is in the public's interest.
Commissioner Gilman seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Peterson and a second by Mr. Gilmer to approve the zoning application. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Ms. Glass has raised her hand as well.
That That's a 9-0 vote. Thank you. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. Okay, next case, 5108 Summit Avenue.
Before we get started, Ms. Glass has left the meeting to try to reset her audio, and she's coming back into the meeting momentarily.
Yeah, the next case is the Yanceyville Road.
Let me find my way here. Very good. This is item Z-26-03-004. This is a rezoning request from R5 Residential Single Family 5 to CD RM26 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 for the properties identified as 3917, 3923, 3925, 3927, 3929, and 3931 Yanceyville Street, generally described as west of Yanceyville Street and south of Lee's Chapel Road, 4.49 acres. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Speens. This is the zoning map of the area, showing that subject properties contain approximately 4.49 acres and are located west of Yanceyville Street and south of Lee's Chapel Road. This is a rezoning request from R5 to CD RM26. North of the request is zone R5 and CD RM12. East of the request is zone R5 and two separate CD RM12 districts. South of the request is zone R5, and rest of the request is zone RM8. The aerial map shows that the subject properties currently contain single-family dwellings. North of the request contains single-family dwellings and common elements. East of the request contains single and multifamily dwellings. South of the request contains craft recreation center, and west of the request contains multifamily dwellings. This is the condition that was proposed by the applicant and advertised associated with the request. And recommending approval of the request, staff noted that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designates these properties as residential, and the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the properties as urban general. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's filling in our framework big idea to encourage higher density, mixed use, walkable infill development, as well as the creating great places goal to meet housing needs and desires with a sufficient and diverse supply of housing products, prices, and locations. And staff noted that the proposed CDRM26 zoning district as condition limits uses to a mix of housing types at no more than 84 dwelling units overall. The proposed uses are similar to existing uses in the surrounding area, and the request is appropriate given its proximity to Yanceyville Street, which is a major thoroughfare. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, materials, height, as well as visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent properties. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have just one question. So it's an R5 to an RM26, and I thought I heard you say around the property that it was R5s. It's RM8s that are around the property, correct? Just for clarity and to correct.
Yeah. So the western property line is RM8. There's CD RM12 to the north, as well as across the street.
Lots of that. Thank you so much.
Any other questions of staff? Thank you. Would the applicant like a couple of minutes? 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. I'm Mark Isaacson at 804 Green Valley Road. Just here to, for the record, mention that I am here on behalf of the applicant. A representative, Bobby Funk, is here on behalf of FGM Development as well. We had a neighborhood meeting. I think all that went very well. Addressed some questions from folks who showed up. Have had 1 or 2 calls about this, but no opposition. And we're pleased to bring this project for the Commission's review and approval. really aimed at more senior housing for this particular project. This is in some partnership or relationship with the Episcopal Church on Yanceyville Street as well. This will be the third phase of these types of apartment homes that are being brought to this area of the city. So available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Beth McGee Huger has signed up to. Would you like to say anything? Mark covered it. Thank you. Just wanted to give you your shot. All right. Since there is no other discussion or speakers, we will, without objection, close the public hearing and open it to discussion or motions.
Yes, Madam Chair, I want to make a motion for agenda item Z2603004. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the properties at 3917, 3923, 3925, 3927, 3929, and 3931 Yanceyville Street from R5 Residential Single Family 5 to CDRM 26 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. Number one, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. Number two, the proposed CDRM 26 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding areas and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. And number three, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. We have a motion to approve by Mr. Downing and a second by Ms. Turner. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So we have a 9-0 vote on which constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Okay, next case is item Z-26-03-005. This is a rezoning request from R5 Residential Single Family 5 and UMU University Mixed Use to CDRM 26 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 for the properties identified as portions of 701 Union Street and 643 Westgate City Boulevard, generally described as south of Westgate City Boulevard and west of Freeman Mill Road. It's 4.466 acres. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. The zoning map shows that the subject properties contain approximately 4.46 acres, 4.466 acres, and are located south of Westgate City Boulevard and west of Freeman Mill Road. This is a rezoning request from R5 and UMU to CDRM 26. North of the request is zoned UMU. East of the request is zoned PI. South of the request is zoned R5. And west of the request is zoned R5 and RM12. This is the aerial map. The subject property currently contains parking associated with the religious assembly use and undeveloped land. North of the request contains religious assembly. East of the request contains multifamily dwellings. South of the request contains undeveloped land. And west of the request contains single-family dwellings and undeveloped land. These are the conditions that the applicant proposed. And in recommending approval of the request, staff note that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates these properties as urban central within an urban mixed-use corridor and a reinvestment area. The Comprehensive Plan's future land use map indicates that these properties are within the Glenwood neighborhood plan and is designated as a mixed-use residential on its Glenwood future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports both the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the filling in our framework big idea for how we arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant, livable Greensboro. The requested CDRM 26 zoning district, as conditioned, would limit uses to a maximum of 96 residential homes. The proposed uses are compatible with the surrounding area and adopted plans. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, materials, height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent properties. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Nelson? Is the applicant here? Would they like a couple of minutes? Please come to the podium, and we need your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Grant Duffield. I'm with Affordable Housing Management Incorporated. I'm at 2809 Asbury Terrace. Mr. Chair Skeens, members of the Commission, thank you very much for entertaining our request this evening. Just very briefly, I want to share with you that the project that's in front of you is a collaborative effort between Grace Community Church and Affordable Housing Management designed to bring affordable housing, more affordable housing to the Glenwood neighborhood. We have done an extensive amount of community outreach and engagement over the past several weeks. We have met with the Glenwood Neighborhood Association. We've also created 2 additional neighborhood input sessions, one on the 17th and one on the 21st of February. We've received letters of support from the Glenwood neighborhood, from the Warnersville Community Association, from Goodwill Industries, of course from Grace Community Church as well, from Mustard Seed Health. Also received over 100 notices of support from members in the community. We are thrilled to bring this project before you and would ask your favorable consideration this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Duffield. Any questions of Mr. Duffield? Thank you.
Thank you.
There's 50 seconds left. If there's anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this request? Seeing none, without objection, we will close the public hearing and open the floor for discussion or motions.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
In matter of Z-26-03-005, the Greensboro Planning Commission and an annexation and originals. Oops, there we go.
No.
Sorry, one more.
They're working on it.
Come on, my first one, you're going to mess it.
Uh-huh.
All right. Zoning amendment statement by Planning and Zoning Commission on consistency with adopted comprehensive plan and reasonableness. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that it is its action to recommend approve of the rezoning request of the properties at portions of 701 Union Street and 643 West Gate City Boulevard from R5 residential single family and UMU University mixed use to CD RM-26 conditional district residential multi-use to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The factors that support approval. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed CDRM-26 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Commissioner Gilmer seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve by Mr. Oliver and a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
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 That's a unanimous vote, 9-0. This Approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Okay. Our next case is item PLP 26-07 and Z-26-03-006. This is an annexation and original request from County RS 40 residential single family to City CD R7 conditional district residential single family 7 for the property identified as 3405 Liberty Road, generally described as east of Liberty Road and south of Nice Road, total of 11.75 acres. In addition, we have item PLP 26-07 and Z-26-03-007. This is an annexation and original request from County RS 40 residential single family to City R7 residential single family 7 for the property identified as a portion of Liberty Road right-of-way, 0.37 acres. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map of the subject properties. The subject properties in total make up 12.12 acres. 11.75 acres of that is the private property portion, which is 3405 Liberty Road. And then within the road right-of-way is 0.37 acres. The subject properties are described as east of Liberty Road and south of Nice Road, which includes, again, a portion of Liberty Road right-of-way. Case Z-26-03-006 is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 40 to City CD R7. In case 26-03-007 is an original zoning and annexation request from County RS 40 to City R7. North, east, and south of the request are zoned County RS 40. West of the request is zoned City, CD RM 18, and County RS 40. This is the aerial map of the subject properties showing that they currently contain road right-of-way and a single-family dwelling. North and east of the request contain undeveloped land, and south and west of the request contain single-family dwellings. This is the condition that was proposed by the applicant. And in recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the property as urban general and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's filling in our framework big idea for how we arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more livable and vibrant Greensboro. It is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDR7 zoning district, as conditioned, would limit the property to residential uses only. The proposed uses are similar to those that are existing in the surrounding area. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Is the applicant here to speak for a couple of minutes?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, my name is Nick Blackwood, 804 Green Valley Road here in Greensboro. I just wanted to make myself available for any questions that you might have. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, KZT Acquisition. We held a neighborhood meeting, no concerns raised from folks in the area. So again, just wanted to make myself available if you had any questions for me. Thanks.
Any questions of Mr. Blackwood? Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this case? Seeing none, without objection, we will close the public hearing. This particular case involves two different parcels, the right-of-way, so we need an annexation vote. Excuse me.
A motion.
Mr. Carter, would you like to say something?
No, ma'am. You're correct. We need an annexation vote.
He had this look of expectancy on his face. Okay.
I make a motion for the annexation of the two parcels of property.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve both the right-of-way annexation and the Liberty Road annexation. The motion was made by Mrs. Turner and seconded by Mr. Gilmer. No, Mr. Downing. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Passes on a 9-0 vote, and that's for both parcels. Now we need a motion on the zoning, please.
I'll make a motion regarding Z-26-03-006. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 3405 Liberty Road from County RS40 Residential Single Family to City CD R7 Conditional District Residential Single Family 7 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan and considers the action to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built format and future land use map. The proposed City CDR7 zoning district, as conditioned, permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. 3, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Stu Nichols, I second.
We have a motion by Ms. Turner and a second by Mr. Nichols to approve the zoning. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes on a 9-0 vote. This involves an annexation, so it constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. All righty, let's reorganize, and we're going back to, you have
Have the right-of-way piece to make a motion on.
We need the zoning for 07, zoning recommendation.
Yeah, yep. Yes.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-03-007. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at a portion of Liberty Road right-of-way from County RS40 Residential Single Family to City R7 Residential Single Family 7 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan and considers action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, future built form map, and future land use map. The proposed City R7 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent property. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approvals in the public's interest.
Second, Ms. Maggot.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Ms. Maggot to approve the zoning on the right-of-way. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes 9-0. All righty. Now, we're going to go to Z. Now, on this one, this constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. I have way too much paper up here. Just a minute. Yeah. We're now going to move to Z 25-10-007 and PLP 25-41. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS30 Residential Single Family and County LI Light Industrial to City CDRM5 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 5 for the properties identified as a portion of 1911 Willow Road and all of 1617 Sharp Road, generally described as east of Willow Road and north of Sharp Road, for a total of 109 acres. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map of the subject property. The subject properties contain approximately 109 acres and are located east of Willow Road and north of Sharp Road. This is an annexation and an original zoning request from County LI, which is light industrial, and County RS30, which is residential single-family zoning district, to City CDRM5, which is residential multifamily 5. North of the request is zoned City LI. East of the request is zoned County RS30. South of the request is zoned County RS40, City PUD, City RM8, and City LI. West of the request is zoned City R5. It's a single-family residential zoning district, 5 units per acre, and City CDRM8, multifamily, 8 units per acre. This is the aerial map of the subject property. It shows that it is currently undeveloped. North of the request contains undeveloped land and I-4085. East of the request contains undeveloped land and a single-family dwelling. South of the request contains single-family dwellings, religious assembly uses, multifamily dwellings, and a fire station. And west of the request contains single-family dwellings. This is the subject property. This is the western portion of the subject property as seen from Willow Road. This is the southeastern portion of the subject property as seen from Sharp Road. And this is undeveloped land located north of the request on Willow Road, zoned City LI. This image shows I-4085 located north of the request, zoned City R5 and City LI. This image shows an agricultural use located east of the request on Sharp Road, zoned County RS30. This is undeveloped land located east and south of the request, zoned County RS30. This image shows a religious assembly use located south of the request on Alamance Church Road, zoned City PUD. This image shows multifamily dwellings located south of the request on Willow Road, zoned City RM8. This is the fire station located south and west of the request, also on Willow Road, zoned City LI. This image shows an example of the single-family dwellings located west of the request, zoned City R5 and City CDRM8. This image shows undeveloped land located west of the request, zoned City R5 and City LI. And this view is facing south on Willow Road. The subject property is on the left. And this is facing north on Willow Road. The subject property is on the right. This view is facing east on Sharp Road. The subject property is on the left. And this is facing west on Sharp Road. The subject property is on the right. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant. And there's one more condition that the applicant would like read into the record, and the Planning and Zoning Commission asking you to accept this condition as part of the request. The additional condition is condition number 3, which reads, building height shall be limited to a maximum of 35 feet.
Okay, we have an added condition on this case limiting the height, and we need a motion to accept.
Commissioner Gilman accepts.
And make a motion to accept the additional condition. Very good. We have a motion and a second to accept the additional condition limiting the height to 35 feet. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've added the third condition. Good deal.
Thank you very much. And in recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the property as urban general, and it is designated residential on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 comprehensive plans, filling in our framework big idea for how we arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. It is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life quality housing choices, a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM5 zoning district as condition would allow a maximum of 375 dwelling units, and those would be could be mixed over several housing types. It could be single-family dwellings, townhomes, twin homes, and/or duplexes. The proposed uses are similar to those that are existing in the surrounding area, and care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, building height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the low-density residential on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions of Mr. Carter?
I do. On one of the maps, it shows an area, a portion of the black and white checked area where that says original zoning request 109 acres, and this request is for 105 acres. But if I understand that right, that's much smaller. Is that accurate?
The correct acreage is 109. That includes some area that, or there is area of this property that is not included. We needed to go back and check our legal description of that. After we went back and checked the legal description, we saw that there was an error in the first the legal description that we had that we wrote, and the area is actually 109. That should be an update. That's updated on the agenda, but I think the staff report says 105.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Is the applicant here to present the case? Aha. And we have, you've got your full complement of time. Technical difficulties.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
promise the slides are worth the wait. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Amanda Hodiern. My offices are at 804 Green Valley Road, Suite 200 here in Greensboro. Appreciate y'all's time this evening. We're excited to share this request with you. I'm here tonight authorized by the property owners, the Nice Sausage Company, as well as individual members of the Nice family, as you see listed on your agenda item and in your packet, but on behalf of Mungo Homes as the contract purchaser and would-be developer applicant whose proposal we're going to talk about tonight. So with me here this evening, I have Jason Ewing of Mungo Homes and several members of his team that have been working on with this, as well as members of our design and engineering team from Timmons Group, Beth Blackman and Tyler Cross. And we have virtually, I believe, you can confirm, we've got Dion Brown from Davenport Engineering. Davenport conducted our traffic study. So all of those folks here tonight at your disposal if you have any questions or as we dig into this matter. So as you've heard from staff, the subject property we've got addressed on Willow Road and Sharp Road. So just looking here again at that acreage, 2 parcels, and you can see a couple things I wanted to highlight here when we look at it in space. It's a rather large vacant piece of property that sits really right on the edge, notched out of corporate city limits of Greensboro. So annexation is a part of this request, of course. You'll also notice we're just south of the I-85-40 interstate, touching it at times, just north of the Mount Zion campus, not just religious assembly use, but campus, as you all know from your work here on the commission last year. And then you see all the small yellow lines, and that's residential lots. So very much a residential land use pattern here with supporting institutional uses like the Mount Zion campus, the fire station just south of us. There's a nursing home south of us, some apartments. So the land use pattern that you see here around the area. Specifics of the request, I apologize. I had the, incorrect acreage. It's the 109 acreage so that we should be looking at here that you just saw, comprised of 2 parcels currently in Guilford County, asking to be annexed into Greensboro and zoned to a district that's premised to permit a single-family residential community. Single-family comprised of attached and detached residential home forms. As you heard from Mr. Carter, our condition specifies that. The current zoning is county light industrial and RS30. We're requesting an RM5 district conditioned, and that condition limits the single-family form, townhomes and detached, and takes our density. That's going to be slightly off since the acreage is actually 109, but well below what R5 would yield mathematically. So what I mean by that is 5 units per acre times 109 would be well over 500, but we've conditioned that down to between 3.5 and 4 units an acre. So here's those proposed conditions, specifically permitted uses, taking away the apartment or the multifamily allowed uses that would otherwise be permitted in the RM district, but we did need the M. We needed RM to be able to do some attached forms, the townhomes, the twins, the duplexes. So that's why we chose that. And then here's the density limit, keeping it down at 374, which is under 4 units an acre, and then the building height limit of 35 feet, again, just to eliminate sort of the multifamily aspects of RM5 and keep it more consistent with the land use pattern surrounding us. So looking at the current zoning, I've told you what it is. We're going to look at 2 data sources here to kind of get a full picture of that. On your left, you see Guilford County zoning, because of course that's what we are now. The purple is that LI that I mentioned, and the yellow is the RS30 that comprises the remainder. Moving to the right-hand side of your screen, you see the Greensboro zoning, and of course we're in gray there because we're not in Greensboro yet. So notched out of that Greensboro zoning pattern that you see, the subject property has the 2 red stars, and around us you see lots of light yellow or beige, if you will. That's R5. So indicating why we wanted to stay consistent with that as our chosen residential district. And then you see south of us, the LI is the fire station. You see the RM8 is an apartment complex south of us. And then the PUD, darker beige or darker orange, is the Mount Zion campus that you all are familiar with from last year. And then, of course, moving south along Alamance Church Road, you also see a lot of R5 zoning. So, again, that was informative for us as we chose what residential pattern and format we wanted to go for in this case. Here again, looking at the current zoning, this is pulled directly from staff's materials, so you've seen this before, but I like how this map really shows you, I think it's a uniquity that this property isn't yet in the city of Greensboro. You can see it sits here just right on the edge, almost carved out of this line coming from the southwest up to the northeast of what's already in the city. So very much, I hope you'll agree, a logical and reasonable step, but for it being held by one owner since the 30s and 40s, I would speculate that this would probably have come into the city a long time ago. So this is a concept plan, illustrative only, just to kind of show and kind of take a look at what our driving kind of feasibility and vision is as we put this together. As I've mentioned, we wanted to be consistent with the surrounding land use pattern of a lot of R5 in terms of residential. We also wanted to be able to bring in and offer some diverse optionality to the housing. So we wanted to be able to do some townhomes, some twins. So this is just showing, a manifestation of how that could come to be. So this is not 374 units. Of course, as you all know from being on this commission, when we do that as a zoning condition, it's a ceiling, it's a maximum. It's not a mandate or a guarantee to be able to get to that. It's just saying, hey, regardless of how the engineering works out, it's not going to ever be more than that. What we're seeing with these studies and conceptual plans that we do, we're not quite at that. We're not at that 374, but you can still see here we are getting a nice composition of single-family homes, townhomes that drops right into that R5 framework that we looked at, that residential framework that we looked at just south of the interstate and north of the Mount Zion campus. As I mentioned, I'm here on behalf of Mungo Homes, and it's really kind of a unique luxury to stand here and represent both the developer and the eventual vertical builder. A lot of times when we do projects of this size, I'm here on behalf of what I call the horizontal developer, the person who's preparing the dirt, the entitlements, and then we'll go look for a builder partner to build the homes, or perhaps multiple, and that party isn't necessarily known yet at the time that we come to you for entitlements. So in this case, we have the unique luxury of that party being one and the same, so we can show you here what they want to build here, what they're going to do. Mungo Homes has been operating in the Carolinas. They've started in South Carolina back in the 50s. Now they're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Georgia. They've got 11 communities going on here in the Triad. This will be their first, I believe, in corporate city limits of Greensboro. Is that right? Yeah. So they've been excited, very intentional about finding the right property and the right opportunity to have a community here inside the city limits of Greensboro. And this is just showing you some examples of actual products in their portfolio that you could go and look at. And we were able to share these at our community meeting and say, this is in Kernersville, this is in, Davidson County, you can go and look at these. So you see here some ranch, one-story options. You see two-story options at different sizes. So really, this is a builder and a developer that has the opportunity and the ability to deliver all kinds of different diverse options within a community like this. And of course, part of that is townhomes. So again, just showing you some examples and some indications of what ways that could go, and different items they're looking at for that piece of the project as well. Comprehensive plan consistency. You've heard this from Mr. Carter, but just want to lift up. We do have consistency from a number of different facets. Of course, the future land use map designates this as residential. Obviously, this is residential. Urban general is our future built form map. And of course, that's all about, how does this drop into the existing context and be compatible? So we've talked about that already, building height, R5, keeping consistency in that way, and creating a land use that drops into what's around is all part of that urban general idea. Written policies, creating great places, filling in our framework, prioritizing sustainability. You've heard that from Mr. Carter. I'll sort of rephrase it in my own words just to lift up. That's really about that notch I showed you, dropping into what you've got and using your available resources in the Growth 1 tier. I didn't get to talk about neighborhood outreach. We can do that with questions. Thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Toderin at this point?
So this development is going to be in two different phases, correct? The phase facing Willow Road and next facing Sharp, that's phase 2, right?
But I don't know how it'll be phased yet. They do connect, so there will be a crossing to get on either side. But certainly you're right. It'll start on one end and work its way over. If you want to know more specifically, we could get our engineering folks up here.
And from this concept plan, the entrance is one is going to be on Willow Road and one down on Sharp. Is that correct?
So this is, and again, this is a concept plan, but of course through the TIA process, we will have 2 entrances on Willow. Those will align with the entrances across the street as GDOT has stated needs to happen to create 4-way intersections. And then, yes, there will be another access point on Sharp, which is key. I'm glad you asked me about that because it creates a really nice equal distribution because we're sitting here at the interstate, but also at downtown, at other access points. So we have an opportunity where all of this traffic isn't going to overpower one access point. It will nicely distribute between the directions.
Any other questions?
So there is water and sewer available on Willow Road now, right? Will that have to be upgraded, improved, or is it already adequate?
It is available, and of course, as part of the TRC process and engineering, that's part of what will be reviewed, making sure that drops in. If you're asking about who actually brings it to this doorstep, that will be the developer. Wherever it stops currently in Willow, they'll have to go connect to that, bring it on site, and then of course it'll have to meet all the specifications and requirements of the city's water resources and utility departments to ensure that it drops in a way that is consistent with the requirements and regulations of those departments.
But is the current water and sewer adequate for another 374 units, or does it have to be?
Based on the annexation report that is in your packet, yes.
Any other questions? Ms. Glass?
Yes, I do have a question.
Sure.
This property, does it sit in a floodplain zone?
So we do have some floodplain. I'm trying to find the best map to show you that. North of the property, and actually Mr. Carter kind of alluded to this when we were talking about the acreage. That's why we had that discrepancy about the legal description, because Buffalo Creek actually moved, I learned, back in the 60s. It was rechanneled. So we had to account for that because our old legal descriptions that predated that, our calls were the middle of Buffalo Creek. So we had to kind of ferret out where that was now. And what we ended up doing is just saying, okay, well, we know we're not going to build in the floodplain anyway, so let's just go ahead and exclude that from the area that comprises this request. So the reason you see that kind of wavy line, you see here the purple and the gray, but then you see, and this is the way it looks on GIS, but then you see on the zoning map, it looks different than the GIS line. That's why, because we're staying out of that floodplain.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. And just to follow up on Mr. Oliver's question, the annexation report indicated where the sewer would come from and where the water would come from. There's an 8-inch line on Willow Road and a 16-inch line on Alamance Church. And then TRC Technical Review did review it and has approved the annexation, saying that the services are available and can be extended. So we're good there. All righty. Thank you very much, and we're out of time for the applicant. So now we'll move to opposition. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition, please come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
And Chair Skeens, be aware that Patricia Donnell is online on Zoom, and she will wish to speak as well.
Chris Donnell.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. State your name and address, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Fred S. Wood, Jr., and I reside at 4 Acorn Court, Greensboro. I have resided there in the Rotherwood community for the past 50 years. I speak this evening in opposition to the proposal of Mungo Homes to place a housing development at 911 Willow Road and 1617 Sharp Road. Some of the members of the community are here with me tonight. I have sent to you written comments, and what I want to do is simply to highlight some statements from those comments that I sent to you. Initially, I would say with regard to water pressure, those of us who live in the community know now that we have no water pressure, basically, and that we have a low quality of water at this point. For full context and reference to my communications to you, I cited previous proposals in the neighborhood simply for historical note. Also to say that over the past 50 years, there's been a litany of developments in our community that just didn't fit the character of our community. And secondly, my reference to the Mount Zion Hill project was because this is the first time in a 50-year history that a project of that magnitude and substance, one that mirrors other projects in the other quadrants of Greensboro, has been placed in our neighborhood. Commissioners, we do understand the need for affordable houses as houses are being built throughout the city. Regardless as the quality of the footprint of Mungo Homes, which is a beautiful footprint for community development, we feel that the ramifications that it will bring to the outside of the community will be detrimental to our community. In my conversations with Mr. Tifton, he informed me that the factors of the approved Zion Hill projects were factored into the community, into the computations for Mungo Homes. Mungo Home proposes to place 374 houses, single homes, townhouses, and duplexes on their site. Their transportation impact analysis indicates the generation of some 2,700 trips per day. In the current economy, we don't see any one-car households in that development. Therefore, in each household, we perceivably see that there will be some 700 people and cars moving every morning. In reality, it is about 700 people will be leaving each morning to go to work to accommodate a mortgage payment. And we feel that's a lot of cars added to our community in conjunction with the previous proposal that you've approved. Let us not forget the existence of emergency traffic from Alamance Church Road onto Willow Road, all hours of the day and night going into Guilford Healthcare Center, and the exits of fire trucks from Fire Station 53 on Willow Road, all times of the day and night. Willow Road is a true negative in this equation. We have heard no substantive fixes of what currently exists, let alone what would come afterwards. Also, with respect to a previous project, we're delighted that a healthcare center, a Novant Healthcare Center, is to be placed in the community. But with the influx of 700 additional people over a 3-year period of time, that means that facility would have to service them in addition to the people who are already there. Within the confines of Martin Luther King Drive, Alamance Church Road, and Sharp Roads, the amenities in this community are extremely limited. There is a mini Walmart, a food line, 2 car washes, an AutoZone, a dry cleaner, a litany of fast food restaurants, 1 service station, and 1 auto tire store. Those are the amenities there to serve the present communities of Rotherwood, Greenfield, Willow Ridge, and the houses on Alamance Church Road. I'm certain that if you inspect the area, you will see that the area there are no strip malls in that area like there are in places like Stony Creek or Adams Farms. A Mungo Homes development will take our community down to another level, we believe. Not the interior of the home, but the ramifications that will come from the influx of houses, cars, and additionally, in building a housing development next to South Buffalo Creek, a creek that was used for sewage disposal, I think brings pause to approval. Regardless as to how big the buffer is between the housing development and the creek, the fourth grade boys are very, very curious. So, commissioners, again, we are requesting that you look deeply and seriously at the resulting factors that would recur from approving this proposal. Thank you.
Any questions?
And maybe TRC can help with that. You said currently right now the water pressure is low in that community?
Yes, we've complained vehemently about water pressure and water quality. We've got people here that can attest to that. We've taken samples of water down to the water plant to show, the sediment and things, but nothing has been done at this point. And here we're talking about adding an influx of people and houses.
With that being said, does planning know about that, and this additional development wouldn't affect that at all?
So anytime we have an annexation request, obviously we've got service departments that are evaluating our ability to provide services to the new property to be the same or better in some cases than what's offered in the city. But at a minimum, state law says that you have to provide the same level of service to new residents as you provide to existing services on there. I can't speak to the broader issues that Mr. Woods brought up. I know there's conversations that have been ongoing with the city and the water resources staff talked through those things. But at least from the assessment we have, technical water resources would have been one of the review points on the technical review side to vote in favor of annexing the property. So they are certifying that they feel like the services can be provided to the new area without necessarily impacting the existing area. But I can't get into more specifics than that. That's more of a water resources technical question.
Any other questions of Mr. Wood? Thank you.
Thank you.
There are a number of other people who have signed up. Do we need to go to the online person? Chris Donnell?
Chair Skanes, she should be unmuting now.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry, what were you asking?
We need your name and address, please.
Okay, Patricia Donnell, and that's spelled Donnell. 1714 Bristol Road. The zip code is 27406.
Thank you. What would you
You're
like
welcome.
to tell us this evening?
I actually did not want to speak. I was listening to the last speaker, Mr. Woods, and I am in total agreement with the factors that he mentioned. I presently have a terrible problem with water pressure in my kitchen. I was more interested in asking some questions. I wasn't able to make a previous meeting that was scheduled by Mungo Homes, and I apologize for that. But is this the venue wherein I would ask questions that I'm concerned about?
Ms. Donnell, I think if there's some more technical questions, we can probably address that separately outside this venue, or at least connect you then with the attorney and their development representatives if there are more specific questions on there. Do you have some general, you mentioned general concerns about the water as far as the new development. Are there any other general concerns you have for the commission?
Yeah, and like Mr. Woods, I was concerned about the impact of the traffic patterns that would be established with the new construction. I also wanted to ask questions in terms of how the noise level that would come with this construction, how is that going to be addressed or mitigated in terms of the hours of construction? I was interested also in terms of the compatibility of the planned construction with existing neighborhoods and the surrounding community. Mr. Wood kind of covered that also as he spoke. But there are a couple of other questions that I have, and I don't want to hold up the meeting. So if you could put me in contact with someone that I could ask these questions, that would be great.
Yeah, we've got your email address, so we'll reach out to you so we can get all of the questions together and then get you to the right folks to help answer those questions.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Thank you, Ms. Donnell. Anyone else who would like to speak in opposition to this request? Please come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Herbert Martin. I live at 2303 Beaverbrook Drive, which is approximately 6 cents per mile from the sign that's on Sharp Road. My main concern for this development is traffic. I'm already dealing with traffic from Mount Zion, their Southern Auction, KOA, and New Jerusalem. And there, based on what I saw there is going to be an exit from this development coming to Sharp Road. The young man spoke in reference to traffic patterns. They did some studies, but that's a very small road, and I haven't heard anything said about developing the roads there. And that is a main concern of mine. I used to ride motorcycles a lot, and that was one of my biggest problems, traffic there. I understand that development is going to happen. I live in a single-family home on Inglewood subdivision, which is Inglewood is the 1800 Sharp Road, which is approximately 2 blocks from the 1615 area that you're speaking in reference to, where it's going to attach to Sharp Road. And my main concern is the number of houses going to be put there and traffic. And I don't really see them just doing single-family homes. As the gentleman spoke in reference to, every household is going to have at least 2 cars, possibly 3. So if you're talking 374 houses and you multiply that by 3, traffic improves exponentially. And I'm not really hearing anything said about traffic, which is already a problem. So I would be mainly against it for that reason. I'm not hearing anything in reference to traffic. And that is a wet area. So to say that it's not a flood zone, my yard stays wet now as right now. So it has to be in a flood zone. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that it does, because I spoke with a gentleman that lived there that owns most of the land on the west side, east side. And years ago, there were drains put in to drain that area. So I just don't see it being a viable thing for the area that I live in. and then it's going to affect me down the road because this development would just lead to another. So now we have more. As the gentleman spoke in reference to it, there's no major shopping center to support it, a housing development of this size. And I'm not hearing anyone speak in reference to developing one. So I will be opposed to it for that reason. It's just not, I don't think it's right for that area, the area that I live in, even though I'm in the county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That ends the initial presentation time. We now will go to rebuttal. Would the applicant like 5 minutes to respond to items that have been mentioned?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Quickly, wanted to mention, so we heard about water pressure or low quality water from a couple speakers. And I know, Mr. Oliver, perhaps this is what you were getting at. So to the extent that that is an existing issue, which obviously I'm sure it is, that is something that will have to be dealt with of its own accord as it currently exists. This project, while we appreciate hearing that, because of course these homeowners, we don't want them to have that problem also. So to the extent that it's a bigger problem and we need to be partners in dealing with that, we have the same interest and goal that be remedied. However, we have a separate discourse for existing conditions that are not caused by or exacerbated by this project. So I would just point out that this developer of this project, as any other would be, is not responsible for curing current issues that pre-exist and were not caused by this development. As far as traffic, we of course did do the traffic study. We have Ms. Dion Brown on the phone if we need to get into that more, but I'll say, if we want to talk about the substance of it, it does actually study the intersections. The scope is determined with the input of our Greensboro traffic department and our traffic engineer to say, okay, here's other things that are going on, the Mount Zion development, whatever else may be in the area. You need to take those numbers into account. We want you to study these intersections because we understand that traffic will turn left on Sharp and head up to the interstate interchange. Study that. So that's a very collaborative mandated process. It's not us just sort of doing some studies on a whim. So just since there was some question about the substance of that, I wanted to emphasize that it is a very rigid process and prescriptive process with the experts of the city weighing in on that and sort of facilitating what our engineers need to look at. And there are, it's in your packet, of course, there are substantive requirements from that, some of which we know now, some of which will happen at a later rigorous review as part of the TRC, which is the driveway permit. And that'll be predicated on because we don't actually know the exact layout and how many houses. We studied the worst case scenario, 374, but it'll get studied again, should this move forward when there's an actual preliminary plat that looks at the exact number of homes and before a driveway permit gets issued. And that's a mandate. If DOT says, you can't build that unless you have a site triangle of this much, then that's a requirement. It's not a suggestion. So there are substantive impacts and substantive controls when we say we study the traffic, and that's a process that has to be very much dictated by that rigorous review. Commercial support, jumping to that item, it of course, unfortunately, the nature of that is that it follows residential development. This developer is not a commercial developer. We're not proposing a shopping center. But of course, the folks that do propose those items and develop those items look at the homes in the area. How many people are living in the area that could support this if I build, this commercial establishment here? So if there's a need for that, it's more houses that are going to get us to that need. And I get it. It's a lot going on. But of course, that is Greensboro right now. We have this 10,000 homes initiative. We have property here that does have the infrastructure in place to support it, that the traffic study has determined can support it. There are some, micro aspects of that, of, how much the grade and the site triangles will have to come down. But we know that this realm of R5, conditioned as we have, can be done here. And that is how we, can intentionally and thoughtfully, using our planning tools that, have been given to us by our development ordinance that's, administered by our TRC that is shown to us in our comprehensive plan. That's how we can get the housing that we need and get to that 10,000 and create the housing variability, housing optionality, and support all the people who want to be in these communities. So, we would love more commercial too, and we think this is a step in that direction by having more people in the area to show that we can support it. The floodplain item that was brought up, so we are staying out of the labeled floodplain. We also have to do stormwater control for wetness or drainage that others are experiencing in the area. That's managed through the TRC stormwater process. You saw some of the ponds on the concept plan that I showed you. That all goes through that process. Dion is on the line if you guys have more specific traffic questions. Thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Hodrin right now?
I just had a couple of questions. So the Rutherwood Association.
Yes, ma'am.
Did they attend your review? And
we did have several folks.
What was the community reaction?
Yes, thank you for asking. I don't know if we can bring my slideshow back up. So the maps that we're going to look at, our 750-foot radius didn't quite get all of Rutherwood. So we, thank you, perfect. So we actually went on our own and added this. This is Rotherwood here, all of these red homes. So we added that to our mailing list to make sure we had the whole neighborhood included. We also added these 5 properties that you can see didn't make it into the 750-foot radius. That's at Sharp and Alamance Church, just to make sure, we included who we felt like, would be impacted and would want to attend. So yes, we had about 12 people at our neighborhood meeting. And I think all but one couple was from Rotherwood, from my memory of the sign-in sheet and the commentary. There was, I think Dr. Wood did a great job of kind of summarizing the sentiment. There was very positive comments about the Mungo proposal. It was more broader, kind of larger. We just want to make sure that this can fit in a way that isn't going to be disruptive to what we love about our community. It's my understanding from an email that Dr. Wood sent me that they had a separate meeting, just their association, after our community meeting, and that the neighborhood association as a whole was supportive of the project. So I don't want to misstate that. Dr. Wood could maybe speak to that more. He's the one who communicated that to me. So, I think there are some, I guess, very logical and reasonable concerns about let's make sure we do this right. I think we are doing it right. I think the TRC process will continue to ensure that it's done right. But I think we have a starting point of a good partner in Mungo Homes who's going to bring a quality home and neighborhood to the area. And so from there, we just have to make sure we follow the rigors of the ordinance, and we do act as partners. I think we can. I've talked with the folks I had the honor of getting to know at the Mount Zion campus when we worked on that last year about, hey, could we potentially, connect the internal walking trails in these developments so that people don't have to walk on Willow Road in front of the fire station and the nursing home. Maybe they could walk on the internal trails to get down to the bus stop that's going to go in front of Novant. So I think there's some synergy opportunities here. And I think
Can I ask
Dr.
just 2 more questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I know you can add so much all the time, and you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a new city council. We have a new city council member representing this district, District 1. Was there a conversation with her involvement?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for asking. We have been, we've met with the Councilwoman Black, I think 2 times about this project, 2 or 3 times. We actually started this back before the election, so started kind of vetting this through leadership previous to that. Again, just making sure that, our manifestation of what the comprehensive plan seems to invite here was correct, and that was confirmed in our conversations with Councilwoman Black.
That she was in favor of it? I don't know which way she went.
I don't want to speak for her, so I'm trying to be careful. But yes, she indicated that she felt
was
like,
aware.
Yes,
she was
that
made
this was
aware.
a good project. Obviously communicate with the neighborhood and make sure it was of a quality that was commensurate with what this community deserves and is seeing now, and we think that it is. So yes, that is my synopsis of my conversations there. And of course, this will go to council, as you know, it being an annexation. So, of course, council will see this next.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Ms. Hodrin at this time?
Yes. This is Erica Glass.
Yes.
Madam Attorney that represents the developer, there have been several comments tonight indicating concerns about traffic, concerns about the flood zone, as well as noise issues. You indicated that the neighborhood was in favor, for the most part, of this development. Did you hear any of those concerns during your meeting with the neighbors?
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, we did. Dr. Wood was at our meeting. He followed up with me after with communications. So yes, we are aware that, you know, anytime a project comes in, it is going to impact the area. You know, this is a change, and certainly we recognize that and don't dispute that. So there are aspects that will need to be managed. Floodplain, we did not talk about that at the neighborhood meeting, but traffic, yes, we did talk about that. And Dr. Wood, I think, you know, gave an accurate summation of that. And you know, I think that we have to rely on the expertise and the very expert scientific methodology and process of our traffic study and of the driveway permit process that follows. So in other words, I think we have to, you know, make sure that zoning is an entitlement, right? It's permission to try. And so this is not the final pass through to the end. This is saying, okay, yes, this can work. So now go engineer it and bring it back, and let's see at what level and what degree and with what turn lanes and taper lengths, and you know, how much do you have to bring the grade down to meet the site distance at this driveway. So, you know, substantively there is more to do, but there has been a great deal done. And so that expertise we do have the benefit of in the form of the traffic study. In terms of noise, I'm sorry you asked about that. We didn't talk about that at the neighborhood meeting. You know, yes, construction, you know, will be a process, and there's something to that. I'm sure there will be some noise aspects to it. Of course, we will follow all the noise ordinances and the rules about the times of construction and when you can do that. I am in contact with the Rotherwood Neighborhood Association, so, you know, we can stay in dialogue if there's some, you know, some specific requests about ways we can better manage that. Mongo's very local; they're here. We're in communication, so I think we can continue having those conversations if we move forward to better massage and make sure that we manage that. A lot of that has to do with management, you know. So just making sure that we understand the pressure points, but you know, construction is temporary to a better result, and so we want to manage it as best we can and then get to the good result.
Any other questions, Ms. Glass?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to the opposition. They have 5 minutes of rebuttal time.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We met with Mungo Home on the 5th of March. There were about 6 or 8 people there. I spoke to historical references. The consensus there was that, hey, they're going to do it to us again. Let's just forget about this and go on. Until there was subsequent conversations in the community where we said we ought to oppose this. We ought to object this. So there was never outright approval of the process or endorsement of the proposal there. I think you have to sort, if you live in the neighborhood, you have an assessment, you know what goes on in the neighborhood. I fought the war on the sand table until I got to Vietnam, and then it was different. So I think that it's different when you live in the neighborhood, when you see Willow Road, when you see the fire trucks, when you hear them at 12 o'clock, when you hear the ambulances late at night. You see the school buses on Willow Road. You see the congestion. When you almost hit a pedestrian coming up Willow Road one night because line of sight is not there or vision is not there, you're in the community, you understand the situation. And when you say that we're going to add 800, with two projects, 838 houses, two-car houses, you're going to congest that community. 374 houses from this project and 400 houses proposed from a previous project that was approved that's in this same 3-year time period. So that's the position that we have, that the congestion that's going to come from this project is going to aggravate and be detrimental to our community.
I have a question. Mr. Woods, I have a question. You made a comment that some of the neighbors said they're going to do it to us again. What did you mean by that?
I'm sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
I said you made the comment about they're going to do it to us again. What did you mean by that? When you said some of the neighbors said that, what were they feeling, or what did they mean? They're going to do it to us again.
Some said that they just felt that they didn't have a chance to overturn this. Is that what you asked, sir?
No, you made a comment. They're going to do it. Someone felt like they're going to do it to us again. You made that comment. I was just wondering what that meant.
In previous appearances before the commission or the council, we've lost, and things have been put in the neighborhood that we felt were detrimental to us. If you go down Rotherwood Road, you see a large storage facility. You see an auto shop where we can smell the fumes from paint on a regular basis, those types of things. That's the consensus, and that's the thought patterns of some of the members of the community.
Okay, I was just wondering that because I know years ago we turned down an apartment, either a condo project over there on Rotherwood, over in the area where the daycare is over there somewhere. We turned down a project over there. It's been like 12, 14 years ago. So I was just wondering when you said that they're going to do it to us again, what did you mean by that? But I understand that. Thanks.
I think there was consistent reference from people in the community about the concrete plant that was approved for Rotherwood Road. It was approved in this body. It wasn't approved in the city council because it was withdrawn before it got to the city council.
Okay, thanks.
I had a question for Mr. Kirkman. Is that okay for me to, this is, right now this is zoned an RS30, and an RS30 would be comparable to an R3 here? Is it 3
yes
per
and
acre?
no. Yeah, so RS30 is a residential single family. In the county, that would mean a minimum lot size of 30,000 square feet. So it would be 1.5 to 2 units per acre, roughly, as far as what could be allowed under the county zoning. So city zoning, R3 would be at least 3 units per acre. The request before the commission this evening is to go to the RM5, but as noted by the attorney, because of the unit cap on there, the density range is 3.5 to 4 units per acre.
So you said it's 1.5 per acre with the RS30?
It's a little, I mean, RS40 would roughly be 1 unit per acre, so 30 would be just a little bit less than that, so maybe 1 1/4 or something like that per acre. Yeah.
So that
and
would be
part of the property is zoned light industrial too, just to be clear with the commission. So it's not all zoned residential in the county at this point either. That's being proposed to come in. There is part that's zoned county LI at this point as well, and that would not allow any residential use.
A portion of it.
Correct.
Portion of it. Okay, so at R3, if it was brought in as R3 with 100 acres, it would be 327 units that they would be requesting, right? If they came in with an
That
R3?
rough math, yes, right.
Okay. And so this is an R5 that we're talking about, right?
R5 zoning, yes, correct.
Okay. And there is a unit across the street that's R5 on Willow right now. Okay. I'm just trying to get my head around this. So thank you for the RS30. I needed to understand
Yeah, I
that.
guess that's the question, to be clear. So CD RM5, so you have the multifamily option. You mentioned the duplexes and the townhomes is by right.
I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm really sorry, Mr. Kirkland.
So
be just
the
a little
Rotherwood
louder?
neighborhood, to give some perspective to help get the idea. So the Rotherwood neighborhood is zoned R5, residential single family. So only single family uses would be allowed in those zoning districts. The proposed CDRM5 would allow other residential types, the townhomes and duplexes, again, without a condition at 5 units per acre. Obviously, they've conditioned it a little bit to reduce that density, if that helps.
Yeah, that helps.
Sorry, got allergies going on here. So
That helps a little. Thanks so much.
Any other questions? There's, another 2 minutes and 47 seconds. About half the time left. First, there's another speaker behind you.
Do you have? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening. My name is Annette Graves, and I live at 1301 Rotherwood Road, and I am the president of our Community Watch. And what I was wanting to kind of clear up about our meeting that we had on the 5th, that we didn't mention about Buffalo Creek and the smell and the stench that was coming from that creek. And another thing, I talk loud, y'all. Another thing I just wanted to mention is that the Rotherwood community, especially Rotherwood Road and Bristol Road, that's where we're getting our most traffic. I mean, most of the time people go up Rotherwood, they flying like they're coming out of Hades, and we're trying to understand with everything that's going on around us, how would we as that community get help with that flow of traffic? Because we do know that most of the time now, they do not go up Elements Road. They cut through the community to get to their destinations. And it's just traffic. It's traffic. And I have asked and called the city to kind of look into that, and we have not gotten a response yet. But we did get some speed signs put in the neighborhood just on Rotherwood Road. But Bristol Road, we need some speed signs that's there too. And we have cars that's parked on Bristol Road, and it's kind of hard to maneuver with those cars. So I'm just saying, as a community, we just need help. If you're going to build all this around us, help the community that's there now. And that's all I got to say.
And I'd just like to say to you that you have a new city councilwoman, and you should speak to her about that condition now.
Yes, ma'am.
As well.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Graves? Don't see any. There's about a minute left if anyone else would like to speak in opposition. Seeing none, without objection, we will close the public hearing. Comments, questions?
Madam Chairman, I have a question for staff, transportation. I'm going to be supporting this project, but I'd like to know, are there any plans in the future for Sharp Road or Willow Road to be upgraded or anything? Is there anything on the drawing board?
Well, part of the subdivision standards of this subdivision would be to widen their portions of both Willow and Sharp Road along their frontages.
All right, thank you. Madam Chairman, I'll be supporting the development. I think that land has been sitting there for years, and I understand about the stench, Buffalo Creek, because I used to live in the area over McConnell Road, and I understand that. I think this development fits the comprehensive 2040 conference. It fits in with the comprehensive plan for the 2040 comprehensive plan. We always talk about development in East Greensboro, and we don't have the amenities. And the reason why we don't have the amenities is because we don't have, a lot of times we don't have the income. And so we have to have the more people that we have in the community, as I think the attorney said, that we will have more amenities coming, the more people that's in the neighborhood. I think we will, sometimes the development have to be done first before the commercial comes into the community. As far as water pressure and stuff like that, I think it might be a benefit for the developer in the city to know that's a problem. So maybe everything can be upgraded in the near future where there won't be any water pressure for the existing neighborhood as well as the new neighborhood. Because I know they couldn't sell new homes, if the water pressure is bad. So timing might be great for both of these developments coming together, and maybe everybody has to bring out their best to make sure that it is a success. I will be supporting it, and I think will be a great development, and it'll be great for East Greensboro too. Thank you.
So I do want to add a few. You're done, sir. Okay. I do want to add thank you to Dr. Wood for your thoughtfulness in your letter and your previous support. As we know, with growth, there's going to be unintended consequences. There can be great consequences, but also things where we know we have to address, such as the water and the traffic, because obviously that is very important to you. I would also say that with growth, does not mean to say there would be no changes to the traffic orientation. As of right now, we're saying that is the policy, that is what is written. However, as things begin to change and as more dynamics occur, there would be something that the city will likely consider. But I do want to just add this as well to Mr. Gilmore. As the growth happens, that will also attract more of the industries or the, what's the word I'm looking for? Stores or aspects, groceries that the community is looking for. So that is one area. And I'll also say, looking at what this particular entity is doing, applicant, it is very interesting because it is kind of consolidated all into one. And then lastly, I would just add this. I know previously in June or July, we approved the, whatever it was, Mount Zion, et cetera, the rezoning, which is going to bring a health facility. And that is going to be a great aspect. When you think about some of the health professionals will perhaps live in the community. It will eliminate the need for this health desert, so to speak. So what I'm saying is that I do intend to support this. I do believe that it is thoughtful. It is consistent with the 2040 comprehensive plan. I do have apprehensions, however, because of the traffic, but I believe it has been addressed. And the applicant is going to work with the community. And lastly, I said my third already, but I do like the third condition was added. So that shows me the thoughtfulness with the community has been addressed as well with that third condition. So I will be supporting this initiative.
Ms. Turner?
Yes, I think that this discussion has been very helpful. I, too, will be supporting this proposal. I think that it has so many benefits that have been brought up, long-term benefits to this community, and that the use of the land for these purposes is quite appropriate. At the same time, I think I hear concerns, important concerns. I also hear from those who are asking that this be done that they are open to continued discussions. I think that we have to wait on the process about the traffic and water and those things, but those are not things that our commission can decide. Those are things, though, that seem well on their way, and I will be supporting.
Yes, I will be supporting this as well, and thank you to the other commissioners for accenting important parts and reasons for us to make a decision to do this development. And thank you, Mr. Woods, for expressing your concern and for the neighbors. At this point, I think we've got to look at land use. That's why we're here. And there is an RM5, the same zoning district at a similar scale and intensity right there in the neighborhood. I think this is a project that's going to have an affect, as everyone has mentioned, in a positive direction in terms of all of the neighborhood's concerns about the water from the streams and so forth. So we have to think of this as a good thing at this point. So thank you.
Any other comments? Are we ready for a motion? Okay. Annexation and then zoning.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item PLP 25-41, annexation of 1911 Willow Road and all of 16-7 Sharp Road.
Commissioner Gilman seconds.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the annexation by Mr. Peterson and a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Opposed?
Wait, you didn't hear from me?
No.
Okay. That is an 8-1 vote to approve the annexation, and now we need a motion on the zoning.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-25-10-007. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action recommend approval of the original rezoning request for the property for the portion of 1911 Willow Road and all of 1617 Sharp Road from County LI Light Industrial and County RS Residential Single Family to City CD-RM-5 Conditional District Residential Multifamily -5 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan, future built form map, and future land use map. The proposed city CD-RM-5 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second.
Commissioner Gilman seconds.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the zoning request from Mr. Peterson, a second from Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please raise your hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So that passes on an 8-1 vote, and this constitutes a favorable recommendation, but it is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. And to reiterate, I believe Ms. Donnell had asked the question, is if it gets sent forward from zoning, what happens next? And that's the answer. It's got to be finally approved by the council, and that will happen on October 21st. So you'll have an opportunity to speak and express your concerns at that time. We are looking at 7:30. We have one case left. We want to go forward or a break? I'm sorry, April 21st. I jumped way ahead. A break? A break. Okay. 10-minute break.
Recording stopped.
Yeah. It's going to be needed.
Yeah, I told Bob I'd be home by 8 o'clock. Well, that's not going to happen.
Hello, my name is Joseph Osbey, one of the owners of Cucino Forno Pizzeria, located at 1160 Revolution Mill Drive, Revolution Mill, Greensboro. Here at Cucino Forno, we offer authentic Neapolitan pizzas, where we bring almost 85% of our ingredients from Italy. We are cooking those pizzas in wood-fired ovens. Everything is hand-stretched, handmade in front of your eyes. Along with our authentic pizzas, we offer homemade salads where we make them in the house, Italian gelato imported from Italy also, and we offer different variety of cakes, homemade cannolis and cupcakes, along with imported wine and imported beer from Italy and soft drinks. Our most popular pizza is the Margherita pizza, which was named after Queen Margaret. Here at Cucino Forno, we are a family-oriented place where we have open kitchen style, we have picnic style tables. So again, come see us for authentic pizzas, salads, desserts, and gelato at 1160 Revolution Mill Drive. You can also follow us or find us at cucinoforno.com or Cucino Forno on Facebook or on Instagram.
With flavors like cumin, sweet potato, hibiscus. These are not your typical frozen dessert flavors you'll find in every supermarket, but you will find them here. The idea was born thousands of miles away, but the product is made right here in Greensboro. All right, Chef Nat, where did the idea for Elica Treats come from?
It's from this desire to tell my story and build a community and create a community around me. Culinary really is not really my strength. I think that's more because of my background. Having a mom who's an amazing cook, so I grew up having everything that's really flavorful. And also my dad was a foodie even before foodie was a thing. Predominantly my flavors are Middle Eastern and Indian inspired flavors. I do have a very diverse multicultural taste palette myself, that I have some incorporation of few flavors that's representation of communities that I connect with or I belong to, as in like right now I'm North Carolinian, so I have Carolina Peach Sonker, which is a peach-based non-dairy flavor. It has pancake bits in it, and it's me recreating Sonker from Surrey County. The flavors are all cardamom infused. That's what Elica means. Elica is cardamom. In my mother tongue, which is Malayalam, it's the language spoken in Kerala. That's my parents' home state in India. This is where I store all our ingredients because we actually try to source fresh produce from local sources itself, local suppliers, so hence our farmers. So I purchase them when they're in season and, stock them as much as possible. We have to be really creative with how much we package into complete finished packaging and how much we actually store for later. Because there's also, as a wholesale business, you have to be prepared for recurring orders, and the only way to do that is to have something in stock rather than producing when you get the order, which is really highly expensive when you are a consumer packaged good business. I mean, we don't have a designated kitchen space where we have access to it anytime and every time as we please. I mean, this is very easy access, but still, we're renting it by the hour, so you have to factor those things in. These are our 3-ounce cups. So Soleimani sorbet, which is black tea with cardamom and lemon. It's literally a drink. It's a piping hot tea that we serve typically after a huge meal. And it's very prominent in the Muslim community itself, regardless which part of the Muslim community around the world. It's a Muslim culture to have black tea after a huge big feast, to serve that to your guest. And so, I executed that tea as a sorbet. So this freezer started my journey here, really. And this is where we store now all of our 3-ounce cups and some of our gift packaging. I did launch Greensboro. That's an accelerator program by the Chamber here in Greensboro. And at the end of the program, they granted me this freezer upon my request, to assist me with my distribution. I do love actually the fact that this business really challenges me in so many different ways, that it's always continuous problem solving, which I've always been good at, and that's something that actually keeps me interested. So kulfi is our bestseller. That's considered traditional Indian ice cream. That's actually milk-based with saffron, cardamom, and pistachio. And kulfi is literally the emperor of frozen desserts, hands down. Like, so that's the only flavor that I did not create. But all the other flavors that we have are all my own creations. It's worth experiencing because traditional method of making ice cream is not really how I really execute my flavor. So when I say I have plantain ice cream, I mean plantain is literally the base of the ice flavor. It's not me just adding chunks of plantain or flavor of plantain.
You can find the sweet treats at local restaurants and some specialty stores, also online at elicatreats.com.
2016-02-004. It's an annexation and original zoning request from County AG Agricultural and County RS40 Residential Single Family to City PUD, Planned Unit Development, and consideration of the required Unified Development Plan for the properties identified as 5101, 5113, and 5327 ZZ Old Randaman Road, generally described as east of Old Randaman Road and north of Benedict Road, total of 104.03 acres. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map of the subject property, which shows, or properties which show that they contain approximately 104.03 acres. They are located east of Old Randaman Road and north of Benedict Road. This is an annexation and an original zoning request from County Agricultural and County RS40 to City Plan Unit Development. North and south of the request are zoned County Agricultural and County RS40. East of the request is zoned County Ag, and west of the request is zoned County Ag and County Public and Institutional. This is the aerial map of the subject property, which shows that there's a single-family dwelling on one of the properties and the other property is undeveloped. North and south of the request contains single-family dwellings and undeveloped land. East of the request contains U.S. Highway 220. West of the request contains religious assembly, single-family dwellings, and undeveloped land. This is an image of the single-family dwelling that's located on the northern portion of the subject property, as seen from Old Randaman Road. This is the southern portion of the subject property, as seen from Old Randaman Road. This image shows the religious assembly use located northwest of the request on Old Randaman Road, zoned County PI. This image shows an example of the single-family dwellings that are located north of the request on Fast Lane and Asa Lane, zoned County RS40 and County Agricultural. This shows US 220, located east of the request, zoned County Agricultural. And this shows a driveway to a single-family dwelling located south of the request on Elmcrest Drive, which is off of Benedict Road, zoned County Agricultural. This image shows a single-family dwelling, an example of the single-family dwellings located south of the request on Old Randaman Road, zoned County RS40 and County Ag. This is a single-family dwelling located west of the request on Old Randaman Road, zoned County RS40. This is another single-family dwelling located west of the request on Old Randaman Road, zoned County RS40. And other than the accessory structure there, this is an undeveloped property located west of the request, zoned County RS40. This view is facing southwest on Old Randaman Road. The subject property is on the left. And this is facing northeast on Old Randaman Road. The subject property is on the right. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant, which direct you to the Unified Development Plan, which will be part of this request as well. And with that, I can answer any questions. Oh, wait, no. In recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the property as exurban, and the future land use map designates the property as residential. If approved, the future built form map would be amended to urban general for this location. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, shop, and attend school, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. It is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed PUD zoning district, as conditioned, would allow a maximum of 900 single-family dwellings, townhomes, twin homes, duplexes, and/or multifamily dwellings. The proposed uses are similar to the uses that are present on adjacent tracts and in the surrounding area, and care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, building height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the low-density residential uses on adjacent tracts. With that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Could you give us a breakdown with these uses and density for each of these, what the UDP actually says in terms of numbers? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It's very hard to read on the UDP that I showed you.
Yeah. What's the zoning condition? You want me to read what you said?
The Unified Development Plan calls for, in Phase 1, 250 units, and in Phase 2, 650 units.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got one question, Luke.
Yes.
Low rise. What is the height on that multifamily low rise?
That's a housing type. The applicant can speak to that.
Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You indicated there was a maximum of 900 units, and this tract size is 104.034 acres.
I'm sorry, what?
What's the question?
What's your, what question can I answer?
I guess my question is, you just indicated the proposed PDU zoning district will allow a maximum of 900 single-family dwelling, and this is for an approximately 104-acre tract?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Glass, just to be clear, it's 109 acres.
No, 109 was the other request. This one is 104 point.
Oh, I'm on the wrong one. My apologies. Never mind.
See, we all get confused.
Yeah. Maximum density of 8.67 units per acre.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get to. Yep.
That's what
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So this, on page 6, it says this is in growth tier 2.
That's correct.
Which means that it's like 6-year time horizon before things are there. But then on the last page, in the annexation request, it says that the city water is available by connecting on Old Randleman Road.
That's
So
correct.
Yes. How are both things true?
Yes, it is growth tier 2, but growth tier 2 looks at all of the city services that would be provided.
Right.
City Fire has recently gained funding for a city station in that area. That opens up some area that may be growth tier 2 to be reclassified as growth tier 1. There's also public improvements in this area for water and sewer that brings it closer to the site, which makes it closer to growth tier 1 than to growth tier 2. There are commitments from the water resources to make sure that water and sewer are available to this development.
But this land doesn't touch Greensboro in any way, right? There's a space between.
It is a satellite annexation request, yes.
So how far is a Greensboro line from here?
It is just up the street, or down the street, I guess, from an elementary school that was annexed 2 years ago, maybe.
That's where the line is? I know that elementary school.
Sumner.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
I have an odd question. We have had a number of annexations tonight, and they all involved annexing for right-of-way. This is going to be an annexation.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there not a request for annexation for right-of-way on Randleman Road?
That's a good question. It's a very technical question in that the only way that we can get the right-of-way in the annexation is if the property on the other side of the road is already inside of the city limits as well.
Okay.
In this case, it's a satellite annexation. It's not on the other side.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Carter? All right, is the applicant here to present the case?
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. I'm Mark Isaacson at 804 Green Valley Road in Greensboro. I'm here this evening on behalf of the applicant, Venterra. And Venterra, the principal of Venterra, Sean Cummings, if you'll just raise your hand and be identified. And Sean and his team are here. We have our transportation engineer, the civil engineers for the project. We have a team of people that are available in case the Commission may have any questions about this. So, first of all, just to go back over a couple of basic points, it's about 104 acres. This is located just outside the city limits. It's in Guilford County. What we're proposing here is a planned unit development, a PUD zoning for mixed housing. It does require annexation, and you will see that, as Luke explained, it's about 8.6 units to the acre overall, which is considered medium or moderate density under the city ordinance. This is a PUD zoning, and before you there on your monitor is the planned unit development, or UDP, that accompanies the planned unit development request. So Unified Development Plan that was submitted. This has been reviewed and approved by TRC. So our Technical Review Committee has reviewed and approved, or recommended approval, I should say, for this PUD. This divides up the property into essentially two phases that you'll see, the front and the back. A couple other points I would think the Commission may take into consideration. One is this is somewhat constrained property. You'll see a stream running west to east and north-south on the east side. There are some other topographical changes or constraints on the property. And so the PUD mechanism offers the developer and the engineers an opportunity to sort of customize the request to adapt to the constraints on the property. And that's the reason that we have selected that zoning designation for this project. Next, you'll see for illustrative purposes. Thank you. That's a great line. More real estate. Thank you. This is for illustrative purposes only, of course, but you'll see the mix of housing types in the project that are proposed. At the front, you'll see the multifamily, the apartments, the apartment homes. Next to that are what we call the cottages. And then in the green and purple, you'll see different size single-family residential lots. I was telling someone the other day, this is almost a cradle-to-grave type project. Not quite, I guess, unless you were born here, but you could literally spend decades at this property. You could start out in the apartments, for example, move into a smaller lot, single-family home, and then with a family perhaps, or needing larger lot size, move to a larger single-family home toward the back. There are cottages that are very low maintenance and designed for step-down or for downsizing, if that's your lifestyle need. So a wide range of property types, housing types, on one property, which is fairly unique, as the Commission may know. Then we did have a neighborhood meeting. We sent out letters, and we had a neighborhood meeting at a local church nearby. Around 53 or 4 people attended. The main concern, as you might appreciate, was transportation related, traffic. And so our transportation engineer is here to address any questions. But I wanted to hit sort of the highlights. We did have a transportation study that was required by NCDOT and GDOT. Was conducted by DRMP, our traffic consultant. They studied 7 intersections along Old Randleman Road, 2 of the ramps at Interstate 73, or as we might know it, 220, other access points, Harris, Kivett, the 2 access points for the site, and at Benedict to the south. Various requirements were set forth. The developer here has agreed to do all of these improvements at his expense to accommodate the transportation needs in the area. That includes widening Old Randleman Road between our entry points and Kivett Drive to provide adequate storage, deceleration, and taper lengths. The extension of the I-73 southbound ramp right turn lane, which is a significant improvement, and 100-foot minimum internal protected stem lengths on access points. So some technical jargon there. Our engineer is available to address concerns, and hopefully we can get some plain language before you to explain those improvements. I think the summary of it is that these are significant, expensive improvements that are designed and intended with the supervision of 2 different transportation agencies with experience to accommodate the transportation needs in this area with this development. This is, again, for illustrative purposes, it's a rendering of how the property could be laid out. Again, the apartment homes at the front of the property, cottages next to that, different single-family type housing in and around, and accommodating the constraints, as I mentioned, on this particular piece of property. The streams, the ponds that you see, the topography, and the configuration of the parcel. I think some of the key points to note here are that it's really a unique opportunity. You don't find this very often, that there's such a large site, although you heard one earlier tonight, to be cohesively and intentionally laid out like this. It's rare, I think fairly rare, as the Commission may know from hearing dozens of items over the years, to find this kind of property at this location right outside the city limits and ripe for annexation. I would suggest to the Commission that this project, if approved, will contribute significantly to the advancement of the city's housing goals and objectives. We have heard about the adopted policy of the road to 10,000. This is a big step, or would be a big step, in meeting that objective. And of course, that's a city council policy, but I think the general understanding is that more than 10,000 dwelling units are needed to accommodate all of the jobs and economic announcements that we've had in this community in the last few years. This is really a window of opportunity for the city to effect planned growth in the unincorporated peripheral area right outside the city that otherwise would not be eligible for annexation unless the owners applied to the city for annexation. So a window of opportunity here for that. And finally, I would submit to the Commission that this application, this project, really leverages the investments that the city of Greensboro has made in this area in terms of the water line that runs on Old Randleman Road directly in front of this property, the sewer lines in the area, the fire stations that we've heard about, the other infrastructure investments, including the transportation investments with Interstate 73 immediately adjoining the property. The interchange here is located about a half a mile from the entrance to this property. So we think that it is a unique opportunity to put a well-planned, well-thought-out residential community in place to address the housing needs of the city and minimize the impacts in the area by being located so close to an interstate interchange. And we think this is a real advancement for the city of Greensboro. And with that, I'm available to answer any questions, as are members of our team.
Any questions of Mr. Isaacson?
I would just like to make a comment. I guess about 20 or 25 years ago, the two houses before you get to the church on the right side, it was two houses. We managed, we did the property management on those two houses. They were the only two houses in Greensboro that shared the same separate tank at that time, which is crazy. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We'll be available for the commission's questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Interesting factoid. We'll now move to the opposition, unless there's no one else that wants to speak in favor.
Thanks.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the board. My name is Chuck Winfrey, and I'm an attorney here in Greensboro at 100 South Elm Street here in Greensboro. And I have the pleasure of representing Mr. Chris Morgan and other members of the community that adjacent to the subject property. Just to be clear about the property we're talking about in response to Mr. Oliver's question, yes, this is a satellite annexation. We're fairly close to Sumner School, which was annexed to address water issues several years ago. But if you look at the next closest part of the city, is about 1.5 miles from this site at the intersection of 220 and 85. So this is well outside the city, and I will point out the previous annexations you've had tonight were contiguous to the existing city limits. So this is, in fact, a satellite zoning. And so there are two issues that you have to consider tonight. First off, I'll deal with the first one first, is annexation. Is this a property that should be within the city limits of Greensboro? If you recommend annexation, then you are recommending that the city of Greensboro be responsible to provide all the services that are provided to everybody else in the city to the people on this property. And that means police patrols. It talks about fire protection. We've heard of it, the possibility of a fire station down the road. Stormwater sewer, garbage and appliance pickup is a service, and GDOT services. So all those services, if you're recommended, you're recommending that the city provide all those services to this property. And just to focus a moment on police protection, it's not as if a police car is going to have to be intentional to be anywhere near this property. I mean, it's not in the site. I don't know if that's me or what that noise is, but it is a. I would suggest that the police protection is not going to be quite what other citizens would expect to receive. The neighboring properties, the most important issue, I guess, with regard to the satellite annexation, to our mind, is the water. All the neighboring properties, and if you look at the map, all around this are single-family residential properties, which are on wells, and most of these are shallow wells. And our concern is when you have this 50 acres of impervious surface installed on this property, so between the roads, the sidewalks, the driveways, the roofs, the storage buildings, what have you, we feel that there could be up to 50 acres of impervious surface, and that water is not going to go into the soil and into the aquifer where these shallow wells are drawing water, but rather that water is going to be going into the retention ponds, into Polecat Creek, and into Alamance Reservoir. And so our concern is that the water that is currently replenishing my client's wells will now be going downstream to Randleman Dam and to Randleman Lake instead. So we are concerned that is going to be a problem, and I don't think that is something that is ordinarily TRC may necessarily be focused on, because they're not focusing on the wells of the adjacent county owners. They're interested in, are we handling the stormwater for this site? Mr. Carter was correct in saying that the water department has determined that they have enough water for this development, but he didn't say that they have enough water for all the neighbors who may need it when their wells go dry. So we submit that is a big concern. To support a annexation, you have to find that the public health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the city and the area proposed for annexation would be best served by the annexation. And I've talked about this issue of stretching the police services and other services that are not currently available and are nowhere near this property. And I would ask you, how do the residents of this community, how do they benefit from this annexation? I would direct your attention to the staff report, page 6, which Mr. Oliver kind of came close to, but he said, but the report says that premature, fragmented, leapfrog, or inefficient development should be discouraged. And if this is not leapfrog development, I don't know what it is, because this is clearly 100 acres with 900 homes on it in the middle of an ag district. So to me, this leapfrog development is not something that you should be encouraging. And one thing I would point out about the traffic study is it does not take into account the fact that agricultural vehicles are also using Randleman Road. We have tractors. If you're familiar with the big cranes that are going up and down Old Randleman Road, that is a problem, and I don't think that was actually well addressed in the traffic report. So let's then turn to the zoning request. Currently, the staff report says that it is zoned for 1.1 unit per acre, residential unit. And the application, if approved, would take that to 8.67 units per acre, which is almost an order of magnitude more than what is allowed now. And if you look at the actual uses, it's even more stark, because on this 104 acres, there's now one residence on that 104 acres. And we'll be going from one residence on that 104 acres to 900 residences on that acreage. So we understand that TRC will probably reduce this 900 to some lower figure. But the developer is essentially asking you to agree that they can squeeze into this property as much as they can. Whatever they can get away with. There are no conditions on the number of units. The previous rezoning, you may recall, had a maximum of 300 units, which came out to be under 4 units per acre. This has no such limit for you tonight. So we can respectfully submit this is entirely inconsistent with the neighborhood and the surrounding properties. We understand that there's a need for housing, and we understand that the need for 10,000 homes, and we think that should be done, and we applaud that. But you have to be thoughtful and put it where it needs to be, and not in the middle of put 1,000 homes in the middle of an agricultural district. So we respectfully submit that this density is the problem. It's not the fact that it's residential. It's this excessive density is the problem. On the traffic report indicates that there are currently 3,100 trips per day on Old Randleman Road between the site and Kivett Drive. The report also indicates that if this is approved, that they anticipate it generating 6,000 trips per day. So we're going to go from 3,100 trips per day to over 9,000 trips per day just with this one development. And Randleman Road is, by and large, two-lane road and we think cannot accommodate that much traffic. So they will triple the traffic on this road, and that's using their own figures. So we think that there will be modest improvements. We understand that they're going to make improvements to the road, but we think, I would point out to you that there are only two entrances to this entire development, too. There's one on, and both of them channel into Old Randleman Road. Unlike the previous one where there were three entrances on two different roads, here we have two entrances on the same road. And so we think that is laying the groundwork for serious congestion on the problem. So I would contrast this with the previous zonings you've had tonight. Density is through the roof. And high density is fine if it's a walkable area, if there are amenities to support commercial spaces or restaurants or whatever, but that's not the case here. So I respectfully request that you deny the annexation and deny the rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winfrey.
Thank you.
Perfect timing. Any questions of Mr. Winfrey before he gets too far away?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to go outside our purview. I'm looking at the city attorney, but have you had conversations with the city about city services being able to accommodate this property? Have you had?
I've not had those conversations.
Okay.
No.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You expressed concern about the impact of this acreage being non-permeable and resulting in a depletion over the long term in the water available in the aquifer.
Yes.
Did you have any studies done to support that, or is that just a layperson's hypothetical?
We are working on that. We had late notice about this, so I have had informal discussions with a hydrologist who has expressed that concern, but we do not have a written report for you to review tonight. But we do think that is a legitimate concern.
Any other questions of Mr. Winfrey?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to the rebuttal. Mr. Isaacson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly to address some of the points that were raised in the opposition presentation. Leapfrog is I guess a broad term and could be viewed in different ways. I think what the staff does when they receive a request for annexation is to go around to the different departments of the city and ask each department if they can adequately serve this property with city services. And the answers have come back yes, affirmative. To me, annexation means, a request means we look at it through the lens of saying what makes sense here, what's logical. And to me, and I would submit to the commission, that the location of this property so close to an interstate interchange in a growing area where our city needs housing, that's logical, and that makes sense. So leapfrog, I don't think applies here, and I would think that's a mischaracterization. As to the water runoff, as the commission may know and appreciate from prior discussions, the rule of thumb is that each property needs to capture its own water runoff and not allow it to run to any other properties. And that is a function of the technical review process. When a fully engineered site plan is submitted and reviewed, as you know, it's a very rigorous process. So capture our own water runoff. And then as to transportation, I do want to ask our transportation engineer to introduce himself and address some of the points that were made about access points and the improvements that will be made in this area by the developer.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Sheck. I'm with DRMP Incorporated at 8210 University Executive Park Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina. We performed the traffic study for this site. It looked at 7 intersections, as were stated, and it looked at the existing conditions, so conditions out there today, as well as future conditions. So it looked at a build-out year of 6 years from now, and it looked at both the no-build and the build, so the conditions with and without the subject development. As stated previously, this site proposes 250 single-family homes and about 650 multifamily homes, and the scope of the TIA was done in coordination with the city as well as NCDOT. The site will be served actually by 3 access points, so there are 2 access points on Old Randleman Road, and then a 3rd access point via Elmcrest Drive down onto Benedict Road. The improvements identified with the TIA, as stated previously again, was the lengthening of the right turn lane coming off of the interstate ramp on the southbound ramp for additional storage, as well as a pretty substantial improvement, which is to widen Old Randleman Road, basically from Cavett Drive all the way down through our southern access point, which is nearly 1,200 feet of widening, and that will install a 2-way left turn lane down the middle of the road. So it will go from a 2-lane section today to a 3-lane section in the future to accommodate turning movements and take them out of the through lanes. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has. Thanks.
Okay, so the phase one is the Elmcrest is proposed as the access point, correct?
Yes, there's an access point that goes down through there, and vehicles can then get onto Benedict Road.
And the phase one would be the 250 units for the single family, correct? Just
yes.
So now you were just saying that the road would be widened. Would that be from Benedict Road all the way down to the 73, where you're planning to install maybe we're planning to install a traffic signal where warranted? That the city would do that. You wouldn't be doing that, but you're going to be widening that whole road?
It would be widening from Cavett Drive all the way down through our southern access point. So there would be a left turn lane to go on Cavett Drive going northbound, and then it would be a 2-way left turn lane down the middle of that road.
Yeah.
And then it would taper back to a 2-lane section south of our access point.
Okay, and I also see there's like lots of conversation about road improvement that the developer would do. So, for instance, there would be a north and south access with 1 ingress lane and 2 egress lanes, striped as 1 left turn and 1 right turn, with an IPS of 125 feet and 75 feet. And creating this third lane that you're talking about, correct? And the developer would be doing all of that.
That's correct.
So they would be improving the Old Randleman Road by adding that into.
Yeah, the overall road would be widened from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, and what that essentially does is it takes left turns out of the through lane and puts them into a separate lane to be able to make their left turn while through traffic can still.
And those would be on the other, closer to the other site, which would be the Old Randleman Road entrances over there. Would that be where? I'm trying to think one side, one phase, and what you're doing, and the other phase, because it's big what you're doing here. So the other 2 site entrances are, there are 2 on the other phase, correct? Keevet, and some on Old Randleman Road. There'd be 2. Yes? Was that a nod? Yes? There's
yes.
2 sites.
Yeah.
X's, okay. All right. And so let me see. Okay. I think that satisfies me that there's a lot that you're doing there. Thank you so much.
Any other traffic questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just to wrap up our presentation here, I think that Ms. Magid, perhaps a way to address the question is all of the infrastructure improvements generally need to be installed or bonded in order for the homes to be built. And so that it's logical to think that the property at the back of the property toward the interstate would be developed first with the roads are put in, the ponds, the other landscape and so forth. All that would be, the infrastructure, in other words, would be installed first. Perhaps that answers or addresses your general question.
Thank you. That helps.
And
You know,
then-
I always have to remind myself that people work at home now. There are a lot of people that work at home. And so these traffic concerns, you know, are something. I'm surprised sometimes when I go into to look at a particular development that we're determining. And I remember once I went in and I asked them how many apartments were available, and they said one. I said, well, why are there cars here during the day? And they explained to me that a lot of people work at home, and they don't go to the office anymore. So there isn't necessarily, we have to realize that everybody isn't going in and out all the time. Since COVID, it's a different world. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, just in summary, I think it's a fairly unique opportunity to find a piece of land like this, over 100 acres, an opportunity right outside the city limits near the interchange to develop for mixed housing that is needed in the city. So we appreciate your consideration.
Any other questions of Mr. Isaacson? Would the opposition like 5 minutes of rebuttal?
Just briefly, again, Chuck Winfrey on behalf of the opponents. I would point out in answer to clarify the answer to Ms. Madge's question. So the plan shows, by my count, one entrance going near Kivett Drive onto Old Randleman Road, and then the other entrance goes down onto Elmhurst, I think that is. My eyes are not Elmcrest. And then that road goes into Benedict, and then Benedict goes back into Old Randleman Road. So all of this traffic is going to end up on Randleman Road, either directly through this entrance near Kivett, or further south where Benedict Road comes into Old Randleman Road. And to be clear, the improvements to Old Randleman Road that they're talking about only go up to Kivett Drive. They don't go beyond Kivett Drive. For example, going to the interstate, which would be another mile or so. It doesn't. So you want to go from 3 lanes back to 2 lanes in order to get back to 220. And there's no widening of Old Randleman Road contemplated, if I read the plans correctly, at Benedict Drive. So that will still remain a 2-lane road at that point. So I understand there's significant expense of doing the improvement at 220 and 73. I understand that's a big expense, but we think that the suggested improvements on Old Randleman Road are inadequate, given that they're going to triple them in the number of cars, and we'll be dealing with agricultural and other vehicles on the road. So we repeat our concern that our community would be. This is entirely inconsistent with the rest of the community. Any other questions for me?
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, no objections, we will close the public hearing. The engineer, where did he go?
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
I do have a question that was prompted by Mr. Winfrey's. Could you come to the podium, please? Or Mr. Isaacson, either one of you or both?
Should we perhaps I think you're intending to reopen the public hearing then, Chair Skeens,
Well, it's
if I'm hearing
all
you
right.
correct.
I could. Never mind.
No?
I'll ask GDOT.
Well, we can. It's not onerous. We can just reopen it real quick.
It's okay. It's probably a GDOT question anyway. Looking at the traffic study, the map, Mr. Tipton, it appears that from Kivett down to 73 is already 3 lanes because there's turn lanes and straight lanes. Am I reading this correctly?
You'll have to give me a second to pull up the figure you're looking at, okay?
Somebody show him his book.
There are turn lanes along
Yes.
Random as you approach the interstate and you approach Kivett Drive, right?
From Kivett back to 220.
There are turn lanes at Harris Drive, and, right?
So you end up,
Well,
turn lanes onto 220 and on to Harris. There's a straight lane and a turn lane on the map I'm looking at. I'm just trying to determine.
you've put me on the spot a little bit, so give me just a second to double check this, okay?
Certainly. Look at the site map. Page 14. All right, stop. Sir, the public
Yeah,
hearing is closed. Okay.
So as I was saying, that on Old Redmond Road, there are turn lanes at like Harris Drive and at the interstate. The entire section is not 3 lanes, but at your major turning points there are. And then along Sumner School, which was referenced earlier, is going through renovation, a tear down and rebuild. And they did a traffic study as well, and that traffic study was considered as part of this traffic study. So it looked at the additional traffic from the school, and it was added to their study. And it looked at the improvements that would also come along with that school, and there will be additional improvements to that section of the road as the school is constructed.
There's more to come in terms of improvements.
There are other improvements that come along with the Sumner Elementary School rebuild. Yes, ma'am.
Specifically on Old Randleman Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So,
Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I just wanted, I'm looking at the annexation request because Mr. Winfrey mentioned, all the services and police and water and all of that. So when I look at that page, it says city water is available by connecting a 30-inch water line located on Old Randleman Road. Okay? I see the police department can provide service to this site with no effort. The police department can provide comparable response service to the property under consideration as of the date of the annexation. I mean, the fire department will turn over with the annexation to Greensboro Station 62 on Short Farm Road. Let's see what else. Yes, water police services. The sewer line can be connected with an ancient 8-inch sewer line located at Concord Church Road. Sometimes when we read this, it says the sewer line will occur at a later point in time, or the water line will occur at a later point in time. But right now it's saying that even though this is a Tier 2 growth area, this can occur. Am I wrong about that? Or staff, would you?
No, you're correct.
Is that correct? Okay. I just wanted to address those concerns. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Good. Mr. Peterson, it looks like you're ready to speak. No, not you. Well, then we would entertain a motion. And in this, we have three. We have an annexation, we have a zoning, and we have a UDP approval.
So, Madam Chair, before I just make a quick statement.
Okay.
The reason why I'm inclined to support this, and spoke with Ms. Venable and Mr. Winfrey, thank you for your comments as well. I understand your concerns, and it's very valid. But thinking about our land use, and it's also growth tier 2, but I also begin to think about the Toyota battery plant. It's about 17 miles from this particular area. That is about 5,100 jobs. There's an investment of about $13 billion that is happening. And if we do not think about that strategic growth as far as housing in this area, it will go elsewhere, and we will lose on opportunity. And so I'm thinking about the long-term implications of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. If we don't do this even now, it's going to eventually be something that comes up again. I believe this is very strategic, but I also think it is very thoughtful, and it follows our land use of what is considerable in this particular area. So that is one reason why I'm inclined to support it, because of all the factors that have been outlined. And of course, it is our future land use that we're thinking about as well. So that is why I want to just indicate that's why I'm supporting it on this evening.
Any other comments or opinions or statements? Somebody needs to.
I'd like to propose that we approve the UDP for.
That's the last.
That's the last one.
Right.
Okay.
Annexation
first.
then zoning,
Okay.
then unified
Okay.
development.
I'd like to propose that we make a motion for annexation for PLP 26-04 at 5101, 5113, and 5327 Old Randleman Road.
Stu Nichols, I second.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend the annexation by Ms. Magid and a second by Mr. Nichols. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Ms. Glass?
No.
We have two nays. We have two
Okay.
nays. 7.
Mr. Peterson, you are a nay. Is that what you were saying? Okay. So 7-2 is the vote.
So the vote is 7-2 for the annexation. Now, zoning.
Okay, so in regard to Z 26-02-004, the Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 5101, 5113, and 5327 ZZ Old Randleman Road from County AG Agricultural and County RS 40 Residential Single Family to City PUD Planned Unit Development to be consistent with the adapted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future build form map and future land use map. The proposed city CUD zoning district, as conditioned, permits uses that fits the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impact on the adjacent property. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and the surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Commissioner Gilmer seconds.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend the zoning by Ms. Magid, a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Ms. Glass?
No.
And Mr. Peterson are no, so that is passes on a 7-2 vote. And now we have a UDP.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass the UDP for 5101, 5113, and 5327 Old Randleman Road.
Second. Warshay Downing.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the submitted UDP by Ms. Maggot, a second by Mr. Downing. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Glass?
No.
And Mr. Peterson are no's, so that is a 7-2 vote. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 City Council meeting. That concludes our agenda items. Do we have anything from planning staff?
Thank you for
we
coming.
have nothing specific. We will have a very lengthy agenda next month. We right now have 13 items on the agenda. So
13
just giving
items
you a
for
heads
next
up
month.
for next month, yes.
Did y'all hear that? And yes,
Some of them are grouped together. It's
we
not
will
all
have
hearings.
dinner.
Yeah. It'll be fewer total hearings, but 13 items.
They are. Okay, do I hear any items from Planning Commission? Nope. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
What's the motion?
To adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Very good. We're done. Thank you very much.
Recording stopped.